Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am super excited to host my very first Uber Chronicles Behind Closed Doors live podcast. And today I have a very special guest all the way from Minneapolis, Minnesota. My sister, my natural sister, the distinguished DeVonna Pittman. I certainly want to welcome you to today's podcast, DeVonna. Now we're just going to we're going to jump right in and get started. But I want to tell you a little bit about DeVonna. And today is such an epic day to actually have my first podcast, King Day. We're celebrating the life of the legendary Martin Luther King Jr. today. And I certainly esteem my sister very highly because she's a pioneer. I would consider her as a 21st century Rosa Parks because she's doing great things in Minnesota on behalf of colored people. And I'm so proud of her. So we're going to go ahead and jump right in. DeVonna, I have some questions for you today. Okay. I'm going to start out by asking you, I know you're a published author yourself, and I know that you just completed your read of the Uber Chronicles Behind Closed Doors. So as a published author, I would like for you to share with me some of your thoughts about the Uber Chronicles and how you can add value to my project going forward.
First of all, I'm honored that you would even put me in the same sentence with Rosa Parks and call me a pioneer. So thank you so much for that. I do what I can when I can. And, I try to do my part on this earth. So the Uber Chronicles is, it's stories that I think people are very interested in reading about, and people want to hear what happens in Ubers. You only have I'm sure many people get an opportunity to ride in the back of other people's cars. It's, back in the day, we didn't really ride in taxis. And so Ubers are so popular, and it's just a normal thing these days. And you always kind of wonder, what kind of day an Uber driver has had. So I think it's absolutely a great opportunity to tell those stories and to let people know what happens in the backseat of an Uber car.
Awesome. Yeah, well, I've had some very, very strange experiences. I've had some good, some bad, and some ugly. So inquiring minds certainly want to know what happens in the back of an Uber car. And that's one of the reasons why I wrote this book, because I wanted people to find out what really happens behind closed doors. Yeah. Now, they know about their own personal experiences in their Uber ride, but they don't know about some of the other strange things that happen.
Yes.
So I thank you for sharing your feedback, and I just have a few more questions for you. The second question I'm going to ask you is, what did you like most about the book, and who was your favorite character?
Well, I love that it was more than one story. I love that you told a series of different stories and introduced us to several characters. I think for me, I was always, after I would read one story, I would be wondering what was next. And so I think the fact that you told more than one story and you showed, the different many different types of things that can happen in an Uber car that people don't even necessarily think about. So that was one of my favorite things. and I don't want to give away too much of the book, but for sure, there was a couple in the book who shared an Uber ride, and I think it was one of those opportunities where, am I saying too much?
No. I was just gonna. I think I know which chapter you're referring to. I think it was called Almost.
I don't remember the name of the chapter, but I just, I'm a hopeless romantic. So when I see opportunities, when people possibly meet their soulmate, I'm like, girl, get his phone number or get her phone number, and I just, yeah. So that to me was like um, a powerful moment in the book
Yeah,
where people missed out on something.
yeah, because like they say, opportunity knocks once.
Yes.
And in that particular chapter, Brent was the character, and he was sharing a ride with Gretchen.
Mm-hmm.
And I can remember that particular situation like it was yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
where they had literally just met, but they were having such a healthy conversation as if they had known each other all along.
Wow.
So when situations like that occur, um, it's almost like that is an opportunity for you to really connect with your soulmate. So
Yeah.
not giving away too much of the book, but yeah,
Right. Take the chance, you guys. Take the chance. If you ever get in the Uber with your soulmate, take the shot.
take the shot because you never know. You might wind up like Michael Jordan and hitting the 3-pointer.
You might.
All
Yeah.
right, so we're gonna move right along. Um, what would you tell your audience that you learned about me as an author that you didn't really know about me already? Now let me kind of explain that question
Okay.
to the audience so they can kind of understand the fabric of the question. Now, I mentioned earlier in the podcast that DeVonna is my natural sister. We look alike, don't we?
Yes,
So,
we do.
but what I didn't mention, although we are natural brother and sister, we actually just met.
Mhm.
And what year did we meet? Was it
2018.
2018? Yes. And we're literally just not finding out about each other. We're just starting to learn and understand who we are because I didn't mention this in the book, but my dad. There's an old saying, and I'm trying to be polite about this,
I
but
think the best way to say it is just to be honest, say the truth.
exactly.
Yeah.
But there's a song that says Papa was a Rolling Stone. So Dad kind of established his roots in other places more than just home.
Hmm.
So
Yes,
uh,
he did.
as a result of what he did some
30.
centuries,
Oh, I'm older than 30.
decades ago,
Right.
uh, Nirvana is the fruit of the gift that he left for us, even in his passing. Because he's been gone for what, three how long?
3 years. I found out when I found you guys, he had been gone for a year.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
So, like I said, Devon is our gift, and Dad left a lot of gifts, and the gifts just keep on coming. As a matter of fact, all of these albums that you see behind me,
Mhm.
Dad was a DJ for over 50 years, and this is part of his collection. So, back to the question. Let me stay on
Yes, that's good.
subject here.
That's your story.
the what the question was, what is it that you learned or found out in the book about me as an author that you
Yeah.
didn't know?
I think you're pretty straightforward. I kept wondering in the book. I said, he sounds like he's just so clean cut, just straight to the point. Um, no, um, I'm like, I wonder if he ever got in trouble when he was a kid because he's so straight laced. And that's what I got out of the book. You were just straight laced. Um, I wanted to hear more about your mischievous side, what you were thinking when people were in your car. So you didn't really let us in your head deep enough.
Well, that's for Uber Chronicles too.
Okay, all right then.
But to answer your question, uh, there was a mischievous side to me even as a kid growing up in the city of Chicago. And you asked if you wondered if I ever got in any trouble. I did get in trouble, but I was always the type of kid that tried to shun trouble. And I
Mm-hmm.
really didn't like to get in trouble because I knew the consequences
Mm-hmm.
that would take place after getting in trouble. But I was the kid that if I did get in trouble, I would always get caught.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of deterred me
Yeah,
from trouble.
that makes sense.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
and I would share a little bit about one time that I got in trouble. It was so embarrassing. I think I will because we have a little extra time. But my cousin and I and some of our friends, we all had the audacity to break into the school where we attended grammar school at.
Wow.
Yeah, so it must have been about 10 of us.
Mm-hmm.
And I was always like the kid that was somewhat of a follower when it came to getting in trouble because I didn't know how to initiate trouble.
Mm-hmm.
So all of my friends, including my cousin, was able to escape from the school, right,
Uh,
before the police got there. And I was the only kid that was left in the school when the police arrived. I was actually in my classroom hiding in the closet. So obviously the dogs found me.
wow.
Police took me to jail. I think I must have been about 8. And
Eight.
yeah, and my parents had to come to the school and come to the to jail and get me out of jail. And I tell you, I really got a good whooping that day.
Wow.
So yeah, there was a side of me that did like to get in trouble.
Okay.
But moving right along, how did this book differ from any other book that you've read?
Well, it differs from a memoir in a sense that you're not telling your life story. You're telling moments. You're talking about moments throughout your day, in your job, and you don't really get to hear these kind of stories from people who go to work every day. Um, and so you have different in any other story. Your antagonizer and different characters are the same throughout the whole book. In this case, it's different people that are kind of filtering through your car, and so and they were interesting stories.
Awesome, awesome. Well, I'm certainly glad you enjoyed them. Now, I know that you're no stranger from penning books yourself. I know that you're an established author, and I think you've written at least three books, right?
Yes.
Awesome, awesome.
Mhm.
So, what are some of your endeavors with? Do you have any new books that you're in the process of releasing?
Yes, I actually am probably writing about. I haven't. Some of them are conceptualized. Um, so I wrote three books: one a memoir, a book of poetry, and a fiction. So I've always wanted to write a fiction. It took me several years to write that. I ran for office last year, and so my next book is going to be titled "The Making of a Candidate." Running for office, the making of a candidate, running for office in modern day America.
Awesome. Well, I'm certainly excited to read that book, and I'm kind of really, really excited to just have a natural sister that has penned three books. So you're an inspiration to me. You know,
Thank you.
knowing, yeah, I mean, you're sort of like the wind behind my back that kind of catapults me forward to just let me know that it can be done.
It can be done. And I love writing, and I tell anybody who, I mean, I write for magazines, local magazines, write about politics, life. I do a lot of ranting. And for me, it is therapeutic. And I tell people to just, people are like, I'm not a writer. I don't know how to do that. I don't know what that looks like. And I tell people, if you ever feel like you wanted to write a book, or you ever thought you might want to write a book, sit down, get a piece of paper, number it 1 to 10, and you just write all the things you want to pull into this book. And then when you're done with that, you put them all in order. What order do you want them to happen? And then you just start writing about those things. So whatever number one is, start writing about it, and don't stop until you don't have anything else to say. Then you move on to number two, and you write until you don't have anything else to say. And sometimes you have to put it away, come back to it. You wake up in the middle of the night, you know, go back to it on your phone. And it's really easy to write a book. It is.
Well, I mean, it's easy for you because you've done it 3 times. For me, on the other hand, it took me 3 years to complete this book. So I guess once I've really focused on completing my second book and my third book like you have, then at that point, it'll be as easy for me as it has been for
Yeah,
you.
but those are the instructions. I mean, you didn't have those set of instructions, so it probably took you a little bit longer. It took me 18 months from pen to paper. So I had conceptualized the book. I knew what was going to go in the book. I had created my list. When I finally went to that list to start writing, it was 18 months from writing the first word to actually having a book in my hand.
Awesome. Do you
The
have
first, you know,
a
product.
copy of your book that you can display to our audience today?
I don't have it in front of me. I can go grab it, but if you would like me to.
How long would it take? Because we're live.
I know we're live. You know what? I can put the link in below so you can have
Awesome.
it. My book is on Amazon, but I strongly recommend people purchase it from me. Amazon makes a lot of money off of our books.
Yes, they do.
And when you're selling a ton of books, it really doesn't matter. But when you're selling less than 20 books a month, it's best to um, remind people to buy them from you as a small business owner and an author, because you get more of your proceeds that way.
So for you other authors that are out there that are watching this podcast today and you're inspiring to write a book, you heard it here from one of Minnesota's most awesome authors, my sister, DeVonna Pittman. And she's being very modest today. She's also a pillar in the community. She is the producer of is it the Minnesota Black Authors Expo? What's your role in that?
Yeah, I founded the Minnesota Black Authors Expo in 2017. One of the authors that I helped publish her book, edited her book. Her book was titled Mothering Through Pain. And I actually have a piece in that book. Yeah, I was trying to think of which piece that was, but I have a piece in that book too. She came to me after she had her book signing, and she said, she's a little bit younger she's actually my daughter's age. She's 30. And she said, Miss DeVonna, we really need to have an expo here in Minnesota. That was in 2016. And we don't have a space for Black authors in Minnesota. There's a huge event that they do out here in St. Paul at our state fairgrounds, but it's all Caucasian. People are looking for books written by white authors. So even if, like, I vended at the event before, and I didn't sell a whole lot of books because people are not coming there to look to buy Black books written by Black authors. And so I said, yeah, we got to create our own space. And we planned this event in 4 months. And we thought, okay, we'll just have 40 authors. We'll make space for 40 authors. And then next year, we'll really take some time out and do it real big. Well, we quickly got the 40 authors because people were like, what? There's a space for authors? It didn't take us any time. We promoted it within 5 weeks. We had 40 authors. And then when we hosted the event, it was packed wall to wall. So over 1,000 people showed up. We had advertised it on the Black radio station. We had advertised it all over the state. But I literally walked. I had another event going on that day because I was considering running for office early 2017. So I went to this conference, and the conference was supposed to help me decide if I wanted to run for office or not. So I was splitting my time that day between the expo and this campaign conference. When I walked into the expo, I could not believe how packed it was. I was literally overwhelmed with shock, surprise, excitement, and just like, oh my God, this place is, the community came out. People sold out of books, and I knew that we had to continue hosting it. So we had, I would say, about 1,200 square feet for that event. The next year, we moved into 2,500 square feet. The year after that, we moved to 6,000 square feet. And every year it has grown prior to the pandemic. So this will be the first year that we haven't had it in person, but we had it online where we had the authors send in pre-recorded videos, and some people who live here and who were able to get into the studio. So the expo is something that we desperately needed in Minnesota. I founded it, and when I ran for office, I ordained a new executive director who is, an amazing. She was our first volunteer. She walked in the door 2017, said she wanted to volunteer, and she's been with us ever since, with the expo in her heart. So we're going to keep building. I'm going to have a larger role this year since I'm not running for office. So we're just going to keep building it and making it better.
Awesome. Well, I'm so proud of you for the great work that you're doing in Minneapolis, and I just hope that 2021 brings a year that is just going to blow your mind as far as the Minnesota Black Authors Expo this year. And I was excited to be able to premiere my book at the expo this year. And it was just an amazing opportunity. And I was so grateful to be able to work with you and your team. And they were just so professional and awesome to work with.
Yes, thank you. I'm glad they were so excited to have you, and so just impressed with the quality of the video that you submitted. So yeah, we were definitely. I was definitely glad to have you. And this year I'll be playing a larger role as I help Miss Dorothy to take the expo to another level.
Yeah, God's will, I'll be able to travel out to Minnesota for this next upcoming expo. I wasn't able to the last time as a result of the pandemic taking place. But yeah, I'm just so happy to have you on live today with me, my very first podcast. It's been amazing to be able to spend this time with you. And if you want to just give our listening audience your website information again in regards to your book. And of course, my book, The Uber Chronicles Behind Closed Doors, is available on Amazon, and it's also on eBay as well as Apple iTunes.
Yes, my books, My Pretty and Its Ugly Truth, a memoir about my life growing up in the hood and overcoming poverty, can be found on Amazon, as well as my newly published book. All of my books are on Amazon. But again, I prefer my books to be purchased directly from me at naturesyrup.com. Natures with S at the end, and syrup.com. My third book is titled Savannah's Inheritance, Seduction and Lies.
Awesome. I'm super excited for you, and I bid you much success in your endeavors. So
thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you so much for joining me today. And at this point, we're out of time. but join us for our next. We would love to have you back on with us again in the near future.
I would love to be back. This is awesome.
We would love to have you.
Okay.
All right, we're out of time, so we're going to end our very first podcast tonight. Thank you so much for joining us, and get your copy of our books today.
Yeah.
The Uber Chronicles, Behind Closed Doors, takes you on an epic journey through the streets of Chicago. The driver takes you along with him as he shares experiences that may make you laugh. Some may make you shed a tear. Some may cause you to reflect on life's most valuable lessons. Sit back and enjoy the ride as you embark on what really happens behind closed doors. Critics are saying, amazing, you're a genius. Above all, a good man. Only a few can actually write like this. Once I started reading it, I could not put the book down. I love Chronicles. It's so good. Find it wherever you purchase your favorite books from. Uber Chronicles Behind Closed Doors is also available on Audible.com, Amazon.com, and Apple iTunes. Get your copy today.